Morning, Boker Tov, Sabah al-Khair, Shalom, good afternoon. So happy to be together again this day, the third day. It's so nice to have all of these great flowers shining here in this yard. I called the every space is the yard, the holy yard, the yard of God. I'm so happy to see all of you. Oh, I smell the fragrance of the light. It's so right to smell the fragrance of the light. Try. It's the most beautiful fragrance in the world. Because if you'll smell it, you cannot leave it. You need it. You will be addicted to that light, to that fragrance, and to be all the day with this. I will not talk a lot. As I say, usually, I would like to invite Shahabuddin, David Liz, to say something to open the hearts and the time. Shahabuddin.
Well, thank you. This morning I was taking a long walk and I was really feeling the situation in the Holy Land and the situation on our planet. And I began to be aware that there's so much talk, there's so much thinking, and there's so little feeling. There's emotions, but they're surface emotions. We get afraid, or we get happy, or we get worried, or but what's happening is there's so much thought that the deeper feelings collectively of humanity are being pushed down. People don't recognize anymore the value of deep feeling. So I thought, well, what can we do in our prayer vigil? What can we do? And what we can do is to make ourselves be relentless, be firm in going deeper into our own individual feelings. And at the same time, training ourselves to be compassionately conscious about the feelings of our friends and neighbors, about the people we agree with and the people we disagree with, and bring it to a deeper level of feeling, and we'll find that we are much more effective as peacemakers and as bringers of light. And then we really can smell the perfume that Sheikh Ghassan always talks about. Can you smell it? Well, this morning I couldn't smell it. So I had to go deep enough to really feel it so I could smell it. So I invite you all to just be more conscious of bringing feeling into the need for change, not just thought.
Great.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Shahabuddin. It's a great opening and deep opening. Thank you. And when you cannot smell something, be sure that you begin to be that thing. Then the other will smell you. Yes. Now we will go to the one of the great leaders of the youth in Israel, in the Holy Land. It's Odaliyeh Matter. She is a very deep person, and she's a student of communication in Sapir University. I studied there to be facilitator one day, long ago. I don't remember when, but it's long ago. And she is a very active come to say peacemaker and in the social side, and she's part of Abrahamic Reunion, Youth Abrahamic Reunion. I'm so happy to invite you, Odaliyeh. Odaliyeh, it's your time to pray for all of these people, to pray through the hearts and through the taste and the feeling. It's yours. Please, Odaliyeh.
Thank you so much, Ghassan. What a pleasure to be with this group of beautiful people. I can smell the fragrance of the light in each and every one of these individual rooms and smiling faces looking back at me through the screen. And I'm very honored to be part of this prayer. I think for me, prayer is something that is of growing importance in my own personal life. Ro'i, who is here with us in this Zoom call, is someone who gives me a lot of access to learning and meeting such interesting and spiritual beings, doing really holy work in finding mutual points of spirit and love of life and love of each other. And actually, we talked recently about something that I felt resonated with me deeply, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this as well. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who'd met a shaman in Colombia, and at one point asked him, what is a shaman? What is the actual job of a shaman? And the shaman he had met answered to him that in the way that he perceives things, there are two main purposes of his job. The first is to hold space for grief and pain and sorrow, which is an act of holiness. And the second is to remain always in love with what is holy. To remain always in love with what is holy. In these hard times, some of my political work or work trying to bring folks together in this land, we're seeing, if you look at it on paper, the opposite, things are going in the opposite direction, and it can be really, really painful. But I am trying to uphold this notion that there are things that are holy and to stay in love with them. And it reminded me of a quote from Psalm from Song of Songs. And the quote is as follows. In Hebrew, it's Heshbati etchem benot Yerushalayim im timtseu et dodi ma tagidu lo shecholat ahavani. The way that I learned this psalm, the direct translation I'll read to you in English, and then I'll describe to you what I heard that it means. I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, if ye find my beloved, that ye tell him that I'm sick from love. And the way that this was explained to me is that when you go and meet your maker in the heavens, you will tell him that you are just sick with love no matter what. In the sense that if I was in pain, I still had love in me. And if I saw things escalating in a wrong direction, I still have love in me, and I will vow to remain in love with what is holy always. So that very much gives me strength in these times. And I think that without sharing words with any single person in this group, I see in your eyes that you all have this love in you. And you are looking to strengthen others in recognizing this, helping family members and friends, loved ones, strangers, people you've never met before. And I appreciate that deeply. And one more thing that I'd like to read, it's a short quote from Howard Zinn. To me, this is also a prayer. Howard Zinn is a historiographer who wrote, I think it's called The People's History of the United States, which is a bit of an alternative history. But there's one quote that I really, really loved of his. I want to say that to remain in love with what is holy in times that are difficult, sometimes people will tag you as a person who is crazy, as a person who is delusional or naive. And what his response to that kind of notion is as follows. And to me, this is a very deep prayer. He says, to be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, It destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending the spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. So thank you for having me in this beautiful session. And I'm praying for all of our health, happiness, well-being, and peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Odaliyeh.
Amen.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great prayer. It's deep prayer and deep words. Thank you so much. And really, you enlighten the hearts of all of us all around the world, because we have people from all around the world. Shabuddin, would you like to say something?
Just one line. Your beautiful prayer. How nice to think about Howard Zinn. It's a wonderful, wonderful work. But there's a prayer, one line, and it's human beings talking to God and God talking to human beings. It works both ways. And the prayer is, enter unhesitatingly, O my beloved, for in this house there is nothing but longing for you. So God is longing to enter our house, and we are longing to enter that one. So,
Wow. Wow.
to feel is for real.
Yes, thank you, Shabuddin. Wow, thank you. And as we say about love, thank you both. I went to my Sheikh and I asked him, what you need me to do? He said, to love. I was about 14, 15. I say, there's no one to love. I couldn't find a girl. He said to me, Ghassan, never mind. The meaning of love is to love. Anything, just love. And from here, we will get with lots of love. To pray for all of the people we need to love. To be in connection, we need to love. Anything. Come with love and go with love and be with love. Thank you so much, Dahlia. Thank you, Shabuddin. Thank you, Chris Miller. And inshallah, see you tomorrow morning. Again, much love.